Is there such a thing as the greatest joy in the world, or isn't there? Is there a way to keep your body alive, or isn't there? What should we do, and what should we rely on? What should we avoid, and what should we settle on? What should we get close to, and what should we give up? What should we like, and what should we hate? What people in the world value is wealth, high rank, long life, and a good name. What they enjoy is physical comfort, fine food, beautiful clothes, bright colors, and pleasant music. What they look down on is poverty, low rank, short life, and a bad name. What they suffer from is not having comfort for their bodies, good food for their mouths, fine clothes for their appearance, bright colors for their eyes, or pleasant music for their ears. If they can't get these things, they worry and grieve deeply how foolish their treatment of their own bodies is. Rich people work hard and pile up wealth they can't fully enjoy how little they value their bodies. Noble people think day and night about keeping their position and salary how they neglect their bodies. People living in this world are born with worries. Those who live long are muddled and suffer for years without dying much pain. How they distance themselves from their bodies. Warriors sacrifice themselves for the world but can't keep themselves alive. I don't know if this is truly good or truly not. If it's good, it doesn't keep them alive. If it's not good, it keeps others alive. Thus is said if loyal advice isn't accepted, step back and don't argue. Wu Sixu was killed for his loyal advice. If he hadn't argued, he wouldn't have earned the name of a loyal minister. So is there truly good or not? What the world pursues and enjoys, I don't know if that joy is truly joy or not. I see people rushing after it, struggling as if they won't stop until they get it. Everyone says this is the greatest joy, but I don't see it as joy, nor do I see it as not joy. So is there truly joy in the world or not? I think non-action is the true joy, yet the world sees it as bitter and painful. So it's said the greatest joy is to have no joy, the greatest honor is to have no honor. Whether right and wrong in the world are truly fixed, I don't know. Still, the view and attitude of non-action can settle right and wrong. The greatest joy is to keep your body alive, and non-action is the closest to that. Let me explain. Heaven does nothing yet is clear and bright. Earth does nothing yet is still and solid. When heaven and earth both do nothing and join together, all things are born and grow, weak and dim, who knows where they come from? Dim and weak, no trace at all. All things are many and thrive, all born from non-action. So heaven and earth, clear and still, do nothing and nothing is left undone. Who among humans can achieve non-action? When Zhuangzi's wife died, he went to offer condolences, but Zhuangzi was sitting with his legs spread out like a winnowing basket, tapping a clay pot and singing. He said, "You lived with your wife all her life. She raised your children and grew old and died. Not weeping is bad enough, but singing and drumming on a pot isn't that too much?" Zhuangzi sighed. "No, when she first died, How could I not feel sad? But then I thought it through. In the beginning, she had no life, not only no life, but no body, not only no body, but no vital energy. In the weak and dim, she changed and got vital energy. Vital energy changed and she got a body. Body changed and she got life. Now she has changed again and returned to death, just like the 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, winter. In turn, she will now lie peacefully in the great chamber of heaven and earth. If I had wept and wailed over her, I would have been denying fate, so I stopped. Qili Shu and Huaji Shu were wandering among Mingbo and the wilderness of Canaan, where the Yellow Emperor once rested. Soon a tumor grew on Huaji Shu's left elbow. He was startled and disgusted. Qili Shu said, "Do you hate it?" Huaji Shu said, "No. How could I hate it? A living body is just a temporary combination of borrowed things. All borrowed things are like dust and dirt briefly gathered together. Life and death are like the alternation of day and night. Besides, you and I were just watching things change. Now change has come to me. Why would I hate it?" Zhuangzi was traveling to Chu when he saw an empty skull on the roadside. He tapped it with his horsewhip and asked, "Did you lose your life because you clung to it and lost the way? Or did you die in a war? Or did you do something shameful and die of shame? Or did you die of cold and hunger? Or did you live out your natural years?" Then he took the skull and used it as his pillow to sleep. At midnight, the skull appeared in a dream and said, "You talk like the bitter. Your words are all about the burdens of the living. The dead have none of those worries. Would you like to hear about the state of death?" Zhuangzi said yes. The skull said, "In death, there is no ruler above, no officials below, no toil of the 4 seasons. You pass time peacefully and freely. Even the joy of being a king cannot surpass it." Zhuangzi didn't believe it. "I'll ask the god of life to restore your body, give you back your flesh and skin, and return you to your parents, wife, children, neighbors, and friends. Do you want that?" The skull frowned deeply and said, "How could I give up the joy of a king and go back to the toil of human life?" Yan Hui was going east to Qi, and Confucius was deeply worried. Zigong asked, "Why are you worried about Yan Hui going to Qi?" Confucius sat Guaner on once said, "A small bag can't hold a big thing. A short well rope can't draw deep water. So it is with what heaven gives. Each form has its proper use, and nothing can be added or taken away. I fear Yan Hui will talk to the Lord of Qi about Yao, Shan, and the Yellow Emperor's ways, and even praise Soren and Shanong. The Lord will think hard, fail to understand, then become suspicious and angry and kill him. Haven't you heard of the Duke of Lu raising a seabird? A seabird perched in the suburbs. The Duke welcomed it into the ancestral temple, offered it wine, played the national music, and fed it the finest meat. But the bird became dazed and sad. Wouldn't it all drink, and died in 3 days? That is raising a bird according to the way you live, not according to the way a bird lives. To raise a bird properly, you'd let it live in deep forests, play on sandy shores, float on lakes, eat small fish, stay in flocks, and live freely. Birds hate human noise while all that commotion. The famous music of Zhuangzi and Zhushao, played on the open plain. Birds fly up, beasts run away, fish dive down. Only people gather to watch. Fish live in water. People die in water. Different natures, different likes and dislikes. So ancient sage kings didn't force everyone to have the same ability or do the same things. Names should match reality. Manners should suit nature. This is called being clear and keeping good fortune long. Laozi was traveling and eating by the roadside when he saw a 100-year-old skull. He pushed aside the grass, pointed at it, and said, "Only in and I know that you were never born and never dead. Are you truly sad? Am I truly happy?" All things change and transform, beginning from the subtle seed J with water. They grow one after another, where land and water meet. Moss forms on high ground. It becomes plankton. Plankton with manure becomes wuzu, a plant. The roots of wuzu turn into earthworms, and its leaves turn into butterflies. Butterflies quickly change into a kind of insect that lives under the stove, like a molting creature called the stove horse. After 1,000 days, the stove horse changes into a bird called ganyugu. The saliva of ganyugu produces worms called simi, and simi produces miming. Yilu forms from miming. Huangkuang grows from zhuyu, and gnats come from fireflies. The Yangtze plant combines with old bamboo that has no shoots, and the old bamboo produces kingning. Insects. Kingning produces chain. Chain produces horses. Horses produce humans. And humans return again to their original transformation. All things come from the creative process and all return to the creative process.